Hello, it's Penny Meganson from the Meganson Method, and welcome to the Penny for Your Thoughts live show, where we discuss how our thoughts and our mindset affect our health. And I'm joined here today by Anita Jetzer. And Anita, it's such an honor to have you here. And Anita does work with breathwork, but it's quite a specialized technique. Anita, why don't you tell the audience a little bit more about how your methodology works?
Sure. So I am working with so-called conscious connected breathwork, or also called holotropic breathwork, and then every school has its own name. The technique is coming out of the 60s, although yogis already discovered the power of kind of a faster paced breathing like thousands of years ago. So the founder of holotropic breathwork was Stanislav Grof, and he he's a psychotherapist, and he was doing research with LSD and how alternate states of consciousness can help you healing from depression, chronic pain, and so on. So as this way of research got illegal, he discovered by alternate pace of breathing, so like coming into kind of a hyperventilation, helps you as well to access these alternate states of consciousness, and also helps them to really deeply heal people from depression, from anxiety, trauma, physical pain, chronic pain. And he also discovered then, going on from there, that it helps to tap into the inner wisdom, to enhance creativity, productivity, as we can access our subconscious mind through these breathing patterns or breathing techniques.
Okay, what's the science behind it? In this sort of hyperventilated state, how does that actually help with depression or other types of illness? What exactly is happening?
So well, first of all, we have about 25,000 breath cycles a day, and they mostly happen unconsciously. So already bringing consciousness into our breath helps us to reconnect with our body. And I think many of these diseases are connected through disconnection, or they are released by disconnection with what we want and how we are, and what's actually what kind of feelings are in there. So by kind of coming into hyperventilation, the exchange between the carbon dioxide and the oxygen in your blood is changing, and this is helping you to go into a deeper state, and that's where the physical sensations come in. But then also it really affects the autonomic nervous system, so it helps you really to access at a deeper level of rest, and then really also helps you to alkalize the blood. And yeah.
Okay. How did you get involved in this? What's your personal journey? What led you to this?
Yeah. So I remember the first time I did it, I was like, so it took me by surprise. It was in a women's self-care training, and she integrated this technique as kind of a way to connect with our womb space in this case. And it was a room with 15 women, and most of us have never done it. And like normally, if this technique is practiced in groups, there is like strong music which leads you through the whole experience. So it started slowly, and then it has like a peak. And I remember there were like women screaming, and I was crying, and there was laughter, and it was kind of getting ecstatic. And it was just, I was in between of like, this is amazing, and I'm like, what's going on in here? Also the extreme tingling in your hands, the whole energy or the blocks which got removed. And I knew that this technique is for me. It's something I need to work with. I need to share this tool with the world, and that's how I got more and more involved into it.
Yeah, so I've experienced this actually. And when you've got a big room of people and people are crying and people are laughing, just as you described, what exactly is happening? What is it? Just releasing emotion? What is exactly happening for each of these individuals?
So I believe we are storing, maybe you know the book, The Body Keeps the Score. So
Mhm.
we're storing so much in our bodies. And I mean, one of the breathing techniques, also holotropic breathing or conscious connected breathwork, is called rebirthing. And I'm
Mhm.
kind of coming out of a lineage of there, which is called clarity breathwork. And we are going really into the birth experience. And like many people say, our birth is our first traumatic experience
Mhm.
in life. So I think doing this work, we really start from the beginning through the whole journey or whatever is going on in our life. So this is I think this release of emotion, this connection again, can feel like either like there might be some stuff rising up,
Mhm.
or it can just also feel total bliss to feel ourself again, to feel this connection. And one
Mhm.
thing I hear again and again is like this deep trust in ourself, in our being, which is most experienced then in the end of the session. And what I also see, especially in private work, sometimes I've seen it in groups that they go so deep that you see the body shaking afterwards, which means like trauma is being released on another kind of level. And there's also research that this kind of breathing is a change happening on a cellular level. So it's like a whole body, mind, soul experience.
Okay. Okay. Could you describe for the audience a typical session? How would you begin, and what's the process?
Yeah, so it depends. Like if it's a group, I normally create first a safe space. We might share some intentions, or we are doing some somatic movements before, which can be, for example, dancing, which
Mhm.
already helps a bit to loosen things up and to come more into the body.
Yeah.
And then I guide them through a session with music and take them back in a safe space and let them enough time to come back before I send them out.
Mhm.
If it's in a private session, it goes a bit deeper. So normally a private session is about 2 hours, where the first hour is about to talk, where especially in the first session, I go really into the childhood. I try to understand where is this person coming from, what has influenced her or him, what's there, what kind of patterns or beliefs, what's going on right now in their life.
Mhm.
How can I support them best? What would they like to release or invite or feel? So it's really like a discovery process, which is already like I also do holistic health coaching. So I already sometimes bring in some coaching or ask deeper questions just to get the process already going. And
Mhm.
then I go into about 45 minutes to 50 minutes of breathing. Um, where it depends always the clients how the journey is. It can be that some people are very pushy, so they go directly in very deep, very fast. So sometimes I have to slow them down, and but that doesn't mean that the release is coming faster. Sometimes there's no emotional release, but like very physical sensations. Um, and then also others, but I think we're going to talk about that after.
Yeah.
What kind of sensations are coming up, and after that, I again take enough time to bring them back, to come back into the room, to come back into their body, physical body,
Mhm.
and to make sure they are in a safe space and feeling good. And yeah, that's about the session.
And do you find that there's a link with sort of injuries or chronic pain, things like that in the body? Do you ever witness any changes with that, linking the mind and the body, or physical problems in the body?
Yeah, it's interesting. Normally, if they already mention I have my left foot, which is sometimes, or I have problems since years, or I have this lower back pain. Normally the breath goes directly there. So the sensations are starting there. And then either they feel the body's working on it, or if sometimes I believe a lot in this psychosomatic pains where our mind is influencing our pain, or maybe it's only from the mind. So I've witnessed a client with back pain where she was breathing into there and the pain was slowly moving upwards, and then it was in her neck, and then it was on the top of the head, and then it was released. So I think we can really, our mind is so strong that we're bringing in the awareness in, and in the combination with the breath, it really can have some deep healing also on actual physical pain.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there another example that you can think of a client, something interesting that came up for them during your work?
Yeah, so I feel there's some are more visual. So guiding them, I normally in private session, I talk more with them. So mostly it's through the conversation before, but also with my intuition. I ask specific questions, and sometimes there is an image coming from there which helps them realizing like, oh, this pattern or the way in the situation I'm stuck, or the way I'm thinking about this and this is actually coming from when I was 3 years old, for example. Like suddenly they have a scene where they are somewhere with their mother, or like one client had something from school which she was not even thinking about anymore, but it has like still had an influence on her life right now. And because we are so busy, and we are like often as an adult, we also forget what like the little things which happened earlier in our childhood. And this is as a beautiful way to bring these things up, like in psychotherapy. But I also feel that it's a way of bringing it very fast forward, seeing it, but also letting it go without talking about it for hours. Another example is a man which I was working with, which was already kind of in burnout and had depression. And then he had like a really tragic death in the family on top. And he has now been since 7-8 months in psychotherapy, had some medications, and also had some kinesiology and other therapy on the side. And we had one session, and he actually started crying very like on a very, but like in a beautiful way. And he was seeing this dead person close to him, and he had a conversation. And when I let him back, he was like, I've never, like, I did a lot of work, but I have never accessed by the healing power of myself this state of, and like I feel so, like I feel like this trust again. And it's just so beautiful to see how like I always say, I'm just here to hold the space, and how the people have the power to heal themselves and to bring things back into alignment.
Yeah, so it's really helping you to look inwards, I suppose, and maybe deal with some of the things that you're not yet dealing with or not aware of, maybe.
Or things you thought, like, for example, I was also in psychotherapy when I was younger, and like things I thought like I've done a lot of work on myself, and also with other alternative healing techniques. And I thought like, I'm done, I have that. And then I started a deeper training with breathwork, and here we go again. So it's like peeling the onion, but like on a very deep level.
Yeah. Well, I like how you said it really starts from birth and works through, because a lot of our negative programming starts before the age of 6. So most of us aren't even aware of things that happened when we were children. And I find with clients that it's always the small things that, comments that our parents would have made and that sort of thing. And you're not even aware that you feel a certain way, that, you're not good enough or not smart enough or something. And it just takes one little memory to come up and you're like, this is why I react the way that I do, and that sort of thing. And once you have that awareness, you really change the way you react to different situations and things that people say to you. It no longer has the same meaning and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's really getting that awareness about yourself and remembering these memories that most of us aren't aware of at all. And so that's really interesting. Do you find that it works whether someone believes in it or not? Let's say a husband gets sent by his wife to see you. Would it still have the same impact?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. Maybe for the thing before, there's also a lot of work with like the inner child, which is actually beautiful to do during breathwork. So really talking to this inner child, and like sometimes even the client's voice is changing and you're like, how old are you now? It's like, I'm 4. So it's a beautiful way to really access, as you say, like this earlier states, which we often don't have memories anymore. And also afterwards go and talk to our parents about certain situations, like bringing up this memory, how maybe about birth also, like the way we were birthed, like if we had a natural birth, or if they had to pull us out, or if we had the cord around us, have all the way I learned it has all a meaning. Like, are you actually never ready to be birthed? And like a lot of time you see this pattern through the life of this person, like I was never ready, I'm like always holding back, or
right. Okay.
The cord around the neck, like I don't have the right to be alive, for example. Like it's already kind of a way of killing, like trying to kill ourselves. So it's really interesting to also go into this, to have the knowledge about how was my birth, or was my mother alone? Was she supported? Was she under medication? Was she actually conscious? Who was there? And all of that. So yeah, it's a beautiful work to go really way back, even into pregnancy of our parents.
Wow. What's that?
The question now I forgot it.
What conditions do you see most often? Is it depression, more anxiety related, that sort of thing, or a whole mix? Or who are most of the clients that come to you or seek your services?
It's a broad mix. It's a mix, between really, there are some mental health issues, which are normally, I always check that they are also in like in a control, in a therapy session with a psychotherapist. But also it's just, I think all of us, we have like our limiting beliefs, or like sometimes we feel a bit stuck, or
absolutely,
it's if you are in a creative way, or like already just normal working, it really helps to build up resilience. It really enhances creativity. Like you can have visions, or like suddenly, like I had a friend of mine who did holotropic breathwork with me, and she was always thinking about the project, but she never knew how exactly it looked. And in 1 hour, she just got it together. Like things were just flowing in, and she had the whole thing, like the way how she wants to do it, and goes after it. So
teaching you to look inwards and trust in yourself, maybe.
Yeah, and really, like get a bit the logical mind out of the way, and listen to her heart.
Absolutely. That's that was just what I was going to say. I think we tend to stay so with our logic, and when you allow yourself to just let go of that, things open up for you, and you get to see things in a different way, and see how you're living your life in a different way, or maybe what you want in a different way. And I think that's so impactful when you're feeling stuck. And a lot of us, especially now, I think with COVID, with lockdowns and everything, people are starting to look inwards and sort of reanalyze what is important and that sort of thing. And so I think your work is really important. And so thank you so much, Anita, for joining us.
Yeah.
And how can people find you? Now, of course, you can always go to my Facebook or YouTube at Megginson Method. But Anita, where could they find you as well?
Well, social media in general, but I also, for the ones who want to try it, I will give weekly Conscious Connected Breathwork sessions online. So you
Great.
can sign up over my webpage or just email me if you want to join.
Great. So if anybody is interested, just get in touch with me and or look up Anita on social media. And thank you so much for joining. And thank you again, Anita, for joining on the Penny for Your Thoughts show. I hope this was helpful for all of you. And as ever, look forward to seeing you next time. And thanks, Anita.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.